Everybody, welcome to Popcast on the Rocks, episode 202. We're a podcast that talks about pop culture things that interest us. And sometimes there's wisdom. My name is John. I'm joined as always by Andrea. How's it going?
Very good tonight. Good to hear you and see you and check in about a movie franchise that's near and dear to our hearts.
Yes. We did say the other week that though maybe it doesn't seem like it, we're still making our way through the Alien franchise. So here we
Indeed.
are, the next one, which seems crazy because it's Alien 3. We've covered a lot
Mhm.
of Alien content before this because
Yes.
chronologically it seems like, they're, I don't know, are they going to delve back in ever to later in the timeline? Or are we just going to play around in the middle and earlier? You know,
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So what is this? What is this in our chronology? Like, is this 5 or 6?
okay.
Right?
Prometheus,
Uh-huh.
Covenant,
Uh-huh.
Alien
Uh-huh.
Earth, which we didn't talk about yet, and
Right, but I
then
set that aside because it's a TV show.
yep,
So strictly
and
movies.
okay, strictly movies. So then
Prometheus.
it, it nope, no, we did. So then Covenant,
Yeah.
and then Aliens, and then Alien 3, and then it'll be
Okay.
Resurrection, or
Okay.
fourth one.
Okay. Okay.
So
So 6.
7. This is
Yeah,
6.
this is 6. This is
Yes.
6. Yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
See? It's confusing. Also,
Yep.
I'm terrible at math, but dang.
Take this number of the film. It says Alien 3 and double it. There you go.
Yep.
Unless it's
That's perfect.
Alien squared. Or sorry,
Alien
cubed.
squared. Cube.
Alien cubed.
No. Definitely not in this one. I don't even think we see 3 aliens in it.
No. But we're gonna get into it. I am a little disappointed because again, the world, colliding, happenstance, whatever. It just so happened that I had someone at the gym that was also rewatching Alien the same time we were, and
Oh,
then it
fun.
just happened. And maybe that's because of the show. It kind of gets in someone's psyche somewhere. They just see it about, and they're reminded of it, and so that's how that sort of stuff starts. But then they put recently this movie on HBO Max,
Mhm.
and there's a different version of it.
Yeah.
And this is the version that I should have watched. And I watched Alien Theory is a YouTube channel. He's really good if you want to watch alien content. And he's
Okay.
like, there's some grown adults out there that don't know, are just finding out that thing is a thing. I'm like, that's me. Raise my hand.
Same. I had no idea till
So,
you literally texted me about this assembly cut.
mhm.
Yeah, no clue it existed. I mean, also to
So
be fair, out of the franchise, Alien 3 is not probably the one I would think of first if I wanted to rewatch a good Alien movie. Just gonna throw it out there.
sure. Well, and we're going to get into it because this is my first time watching it. So, um,
Indeed.
first impressions. Anyways, that'll be the central topic. We will be spoilery about it. Before that, we have whatever else we've been watching, reading, the sort of thing this
Mhm.
last or a couple weeks. But we should kick everything off with drink holidays.
Yeah, there are only a few to look forward to, and none of them are in April. Apparently, April is dead to us. It's no longer, and we have to move straight on to May. With 2 holidays right at the beginning. May 1st is International Sauvignon Blanc Day. And then we move right into probably one of our more famous drinking holidays, the 5th of May, Cinco de Mayo.
Nice.
And
Also,
that's
my
it.
dog's birthday.
A happy birthday, little man.
On the 5th. Yep. I
That's
mean,
cute. That's so fitting.
I forget if it was like, I don't know if it's literally 5th or it was, really close to then. And then he's a half Mexican pup. So it's like, okay, he's going to
Right, now
celebrate.
it's like now it's you fixed in your mind that that's it,
Yeah.
whether it is or
Mm,
isn't.
yeah. So that's
That's
when we
cute.
celebrate. That's for sure. So, okay. Were you celebrating either these holidays or something of the past?
I am celebrating cheers to your pup and his maybe birthday, Cinco de Mayo, with a margarita. Um,
Nice.
Not only because it was what I had in my house, but also I was craving it because I watched the new trailer that just dropped for Practical Magic 2. I am so freaking pumped for that movie to come out. And if you're a Practical Magic fan like me, you know obviously there's a famous or infamous margarita scene in which the cast actually got drunk on margaritas for that
Mm,
scene in the
okay.
original. Yeah,
All right.
it's Stackard Channing, Diane Wiest, Sandra Bullock, and Nicole Kidman. They decided to like do a bonding thing and like really go for it. So yeah, they're like dancing and having midnight margaritas, and those are real. They are actually
Okay.
getting drunk.
Okay. Well, I mean, you've talked about this movie enough. We should make it happen this holiday season, or Halloween season. You know,
Mm, absolutely.
Or-
It's coming out right around my birthday, and I am so freaking pumped.
but I mean the first one.
Oh,
Um,
heck yeah. Absolutely.
but if it's coming around your birthday, maybe we need to get that done first. So yeah. Okay. All right. Well, keep it
Can be a very
on.
long extended Halloween season because it's my
Yeah,
favorite.
fine by that. Yep. Countdown to spooky season. Yep.
It's very cute. Cora sometimes gets like fixated on certain things, and something reminded her of our skeleton, Mr. Bones, the other day. So she asked me where he was. And before I could even answer, she looks at me and goes, "He is sleeping?" And that's what I told her when we had to put him away last year, that he was going in for his long sleep until the Halloween season. So all
Nice. Yeah.
week, she's just been repeating, "Mr. Bones is sleeping?" And then that just makes me excited for Halloween. I said, "Yes, until Halloween, we'll wake him
That's
up."
perfect excuse to be like, shh, you got to be quiet, Mister. You don't want to wake Mr. Bones early. He'd not be
Right?
happy. He's woken up
Right?
early.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know how I am if I don't get enough sleep. I don't imagine what Mr. Bones would do.
Yeah. With the kid stuff, the Frog and Toad story, it's like Frog wakes Toad up and Toad
Yeah.
when it is, and it's like wake me up half past May. So Frog just goes and tears off a few calendar pages, wakes up Toad again, and says, "Toad, Toad, it's
What?
May."
I do
Yeah.
remember
Oh.
this. Yeah.
So yep, there you go. For those of you that don't have kids, you don't care. I'm sorry.
For those of you
Um,
that will someday, you'll figure this stuff out. This will be very
yes,
important to you, and you will marvel at what you remember about reading to your kids.
yeah. I'm celebrating Cinco de Mayo as well, but in my Alien
Woot
Earth
woot.
app that actually
Yes.
got me. I just when Cinco de Mayo, I'm like, okay, some tequila sounds nice. That's perfect. So I just looked in the fridge, see what I had. I have coconut water that Ashley's been
Mm.
mixing with her. So I have coconut water, some muddled pineapple with a little bit of pineapple juice.
Ooh,
We buying some pineapples and tequila. So we'll
perfect.
see.
Yeah, very,
Pretty good.
very tropical and refreshing. Cheers.
Oh yeah, that's really good. I love like you ever get a young coconut or something, cut it open, and I love that. Yep,
Yep.
scooping the flesh out from the inside, very delicious. Okay, I'm refreshed. Um, Refresh me and what you've been watching. Catch everybody else up. What's been happening in the life of media for Andrea?
Yes, yes. Unfortunately, not too much. Was really focused last week on kind of catching up on anime things, including JJK and finishing that season out. Getting farther on a couple of other shows that I've been watching. Um, But yeah, then just watching Alien 3 and Daredevil finally returning for episode 2 of this new season. I think there are 5 episodes out already. So I'm halfway there, basically. But yeah, it's uh it's a good episode, and I enjoyed moving the plot line forward, as I was saying to you earlier. It's still in the setup phases, but it's good progress where I can see where things are going. It's not
Okay.
it's not feeling too stuck in exposition or taking too long to maybe give us some payoff from some storylines.
Okay. I'm really worried about Daredevil. I got a text from Pete the other day. Pete's been on the show, and he's like,
Mhm.
he's a fan of this iteration of Daredevil, but he was like, oh, finally, like he was enjoying some of the episodes. It sounds like he's like, this is what I'm looking for. So that's positive. But why I'm worried is I'm worried that the executives are going to take the wrong message from what it seems to be what seems to be happening with the Daredevil show. It doesn't look like it's
Okay.
season one of Born Again didn't do that well as far as we could tell.
Mhm.
It didn't get a lot of viewing numbers. Season two, from what I've seen so far, seems similar. It's not
Okay.
charting where they would want it to be. Um, so my question is like, okay, before the question, I'm just worried that the executives are going to be thinking, well, see, look, you had this big fan push. There was the whole Save Daredevil movement, the hashtag, podcast, all this sort of thing, trying to bring him back, bring him back. And then they do, and it doesn't move the needle. And
Mm.
so my fear is they'll be like, well, see, like that was a vocal minority. We don't need to worry about that sort of thing.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm.
Get rid of it. And going forward, we can use more reason here. Like we don't need to listen to, those groups of people.
Mhm. Mhm. I hear you.
So
Yeah. I don't know. It feels like to me, especially fan-led revivals and fan-led calls for a rebirth and or avoidance of cancellation. It's really random. It's so hard to predict when that works, when it doesn't, and I don't know that there's ever a rhyme or reason to when they decide, it's critical mass and something is worth bringing back or not, and what they measure success by. It's genuinely really hard for me to tell.
mhm,
There have been certain campaigns that I thought were, you know, destined for success, and certain shows would or wouldn't get canceled, and then other things just never seemed to happen.
yeah,
Um, there have been so many calls for things like Firefly. I was certain that that was going to get some sort of revival.
right.
Recently, I learned that a what felt like almost a sure thing for a Buffy revival. There's going to be a Buffy Next
Yes.
Generation, like new Sunnydale. That's not happening. So it's really hard for me to know what that is, like how executives make those decisions. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, all this to say, like, yes, I hear what you're saying. And also, I mean, we got over the hump of like making it happen. So who knows? Who knows what their metric is for success?
Yeah. Uh, it's complicated. I just wonder how long this show is for the world here.
Hmm.
I guess that's my question. But e- ultimately it comes down. I still believe mostly things come down to quality. Again, people bring it up as a perfect example of no one was asking for a sequel spin-off of the Karate Kid movies in a TV show. Nobody asked for that. I mean, but then someone did it and it was a big success because
Right?
the quality was there and people enjoyed it. Top Gun 2.
Yeah.
Who wanted a sequel to who thought that made sense to have a sequel to that? Like that was itching for a sequel. but it was done really well, and then it was a success. So, is
That
it?
yeah, that makes me think of the thread you just sent me in the, with Russell Crowe talking about
Yes,
Gladiator 2. And it was like,
yes.
why touch Gladiator 2? It's like, yeah, I mean that's a valid question, but also if you're going to do it and the quality of Gladiator 1, you just have to bring some A game, you know?
Yeah.
Like nobody was asking, well, I mean people might have been asking for a Gladiator 2. I don't know. I wasn't asking for a Gladiator 2. I love Gladiator. It's full, complete. That movie stands alone, and I didn't want more from it. But if you're going to do it, if you're going to touch something that good, you have to bring quality, and they didn't. Besides Denzel, I will say I watched pieces of his performance, and it was actually pretty good. But that doesn't mean the
Well,
movie was
this
good.
Yeah, it's not the whole thing is going to be awful. The music could be good or whatever, but if I was an
Right.
executive and someone uttered the words Gladiator 2, and no, I don't even want to hear your pitch. I don't even want to hear your pitch. Leave the
But
room and
but
come
then
back when you have something worthwhile.
but then is that same executive gonna, knock out Top Gun 2 just because Top Gun is so good? Then we would have never had Top Gun 2, and that's so good.
But Top Gun, the first one, is theoretically, you could have stories of Maverick and his escapades, his
Yeah.
missions and stuff. Um, it that it, and
You can't have more Maximus because
it's
he's spoiler
yes,
dead.
it is a Gladiator is a complete story. And it's emotionally charged, heavy story that's
Mhm.
gorgeous and beautiful. Top Gun is fun. Top Gun is a
Yeah.
fun vibe movie. You want to do a sequel to it? Okay, let's bring back the vibes. Like,
Yeah.
and then they took it up a notch. But
Yeah, I mean, I would say Top Gun is like 80% vibes. There's 20% of
yeah,
like a D story, especially Goose,
yeah,
um, and everything that
right.
he and
There's
his
some
family
personal
and
drama
Maverick go
there.
through. But yeah, I mean, so I get what you're saying because Top Gun is a complete story, but it's a complete story in the middle of a story. There's
Yeah,
there's less
right.
finality to it.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it does, but even as we're having this like conversation here, it still baffles me. Like the decisions of studio execs baffle me. You know what I mean? Like who
yes,
greenlit Top Gun 2 versus greenlighting Gladiator 2?
yes.
I don't
And
know.
it just, I think there's sometimes a loss of a holistic view or a long-term vision. They had this with Xbox a little bit ago. It was a whole big deal where there's this game studio that made they'd make horror games typically, like spookier games, and they surprise came out with this small kind of actiony, fun, colorful game platforming, but to the beat of music, for your
Mhm.
combos. And people really loved it. It's like this game couldn't have taken that long to build, couldn't have cost all that much. Um, it's called Hi Fi Rush. And not long afterwards, it got us all sorts of accolades. Not long afterwards, they shut the whole studio down. They were there taking pictures with them. Look how good you did, and this is great. Studio's great. And then a week later, done. You're all
Mhm.
you're all fired. And it's like
Yeah.
uh, this game did so much for your, you know, for the variety of your catalog. Is another thing. It was a quality game. You just can't get rid of quality workers that way. Like they were going to,
Mhm.
if game Amazon is basically shutting down their game stuff. Like if you could just throw money at art and make it work, everyone would do it that had money.
Right.
It just
Right.
isn't that. It's a little bit more than that. And so if you have people that can put together something nice and it add, even if you don't get the sales you want, if it adds to your repertoire in a positive manner, like this
Mhm.
fills out your catalog, you got to consider that keeping that sort of thing around.
Mhm.
So yeah, it is shocking especially when you are profitable. It's not like, oh, we're just dying here. We're in the red. We gotta
Right.
make it work.
Right.
What do we? The hard decisions. It's not like that. So yeah, craziness. Anyways,
Sorry, I got distracted a little bit in the middle there because Alan sent over this recent Variety article about Top Gun 3.
yes. Those sequels are happening. The one you said, Firefly. They're doing an animated series of Firefly
They
now.
are, yes.
So there's
Yes.
that. And then Top Gun, yeah. I mean, if you have a story idea, I think you're going to be hard pressed to beat two. You're going to be hard pressed to beat Maverick.
I
I think you
agree.
should quit while
Also,
you're ahead.
and also, who's gonna die now? Maverick?
You
Like
can't end that way.
each movie is defined by like this huge character death now. We have
Mm.
Goose and we have Iceman. Like,
Oh
what
man.
now? What
Yeah.
now? Is that it? Because
Well,
then you
we'll
definitely
see if
can't
a
make
real
a
life
sequel.
cast member is like horribly ill, and we can just write that person in.
Oh, Val
Yes.
Kilmer.
Which you've heard,
Poor
I'm
thing.
sure, right? To Val Kilmer.
What?
His family has given permission
Oh,
for
yeah.
him to be used to AI version of himself in an upcoming film.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I, to
Um,
me, like the family can say all they want. This is what he would have wanted. If that was not
I
in writing from him, I don't.
yeah,
I don't know that
I
I
don't
believe you.
buy
I don't
that.
know that it's good enough. I don't know that's good enough.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
So
I sound like I'm speaking like somebody who knew him personally or something, but I watched the behind the scenes like mini biopic Val
yeah.
with all of his footage and stuff, and just I don't know, he just seems like the kind of person who would not be into that. Like he was very much about capturing real messy moments and human behind the art and human behind the machine of cameras and stuff like that, and this seems like the antithesis of that. But
I
again,
think
I'm
I
not
got
his
what you're saying.
family, I don't know him.
Right. You broke up a lot for me on this end. I don't know if it
Oh,
did for you,
shoot.
Alan. But it sounded like you watched the mini documentary Val,
I
and
did,
was just
Val.
saying how it seemed like he would want. He wouldn't approve. He seemed like something he wouldn't approve of. That he's
Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
that's essentially what I said. I just, was saying a little bit about him striving to capture messy human nature behind the perfection of the silver screen, and authorizing an AI version of himself in a movie seems like the opposite
oh
of that.
no, Alan, you got to tell me on my end. Andrea is cutting out like regularly now
Oh
because we
no.
might have to do a. Unless that's just on my end.
Can you hear me? Oh, it's fine
It's
here,
fine
just a
here,
little
just
pixelated.
pixelated. Okay, then I'll just deal with it. I'll just deal with it.
I'll try to make
But
signs
if I
or
if I
speak slowly.
okay, if I react to anything oddly, it's because it's frozen on my end for a minute or something. Um. Okay. Yes. So Val Kilmer, AI version of him in a movie. We disagree. We don't. We're not big fans of it. Not convinced he'd be a big fan of it either. We'll see what happens. Mm, okay. Okay. Well, I took us on quite an aside there, but yeah, Daredevil,
Oh, I helped.
Alien 3, obviously. I I've been watching the new Darth Maul show, so that's
Right.
been my big thing. I watched when we last since we last talked. I think since well, I did again a stream unboxing some cards and talked about the first couple episodes, but otherwise I watched through
Mhm.
episode 6, and those just came out. What day is today's two? Yeah, so yesterday 5 and 6 came out, and I'm enjoying it a lot because I've really liked the animated stuff that um they've been doing. They did the Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empire, Tales of the
Mhm.
Underworld. I liked all those things. I like a good chunk of some of the specials within Star Wars Visions. Um,
Mhm.
but those are all like anthology pieces sort of things, or like the Tales of the Jedi will be three short episodes covering one character, and then three short episodes covering another character. And they'll do
Right.
that with Tales of the Underworld as well. They split this season in two, which is like three and three. They're good, but it's short. This is the first one where we get long form, actual TV series, since, like well, Rebels, or I guess the Bad Batch, the Clone Wars, which I've seen Rebels. I've not seen Bad Batch or very much of the Clone Wars. So you can hate me for that or whatever, but it's this is, for me anyways, pretty unique, and I've really liked the art style. I'm really getting into some of the different characters, and I think it's going to be pretty cool if they can manage to have, over the course of a television series, watch a slow turn to the dark side play out. And I don't know, they're just doing a good job. It seems thoughtful. It's on a different planet. They're dealing with just after the end of the Clone Wars basically, and there's the new empire is in place. So um, it's been good. It's been a lot of fun.
I have not seen this show, but as you say, it would be interesting to watch a slow turn to the dark side, especially because in the Star Wars movie prequels, Anakin's turn can be felt to be a little rushed. It's not exactly a slow burn. It's not a very slow turn to the dark side.
Yeah, I do think that it's one of those. I understand when you think about someone turning to the dark side. Like, I can think of ways that this happens or whatever. Looking at it in real life. Like, I was thinking of True Detective season one, and
Mm,
how you know
sure.
uh, what's his face's character has to go undercover and with a really bad group of people, and he's doing all these drugs, and there's going to be all kinds of horrible stuff, like, and how long you're undercover, and you potentially have to do bad things to maintain that
Mhm.
cover. Well, how much of that does that become part of you? How much of that, does
Exactly.
that become the slippery slope? And it's like, oh, I had to do it for this. Now I have to do it for that. It's just so, like, you start rationalizing things, and before you know it, you're in kind of too deep. And then some people, your ego is not going to allow you to even reverse course, because
Yep.
your mind has to accept that you've done this wrong, and how can you live with yourself. So there's all kinds of ways for you in the real world, without any sort of mysticism, to go wrong, being
Mhm.
put in the wrong situation. And so I think it'd just be interesting seeing a few more examples of that in the Star Wars universe. Being it is such
Yes.
a big deal of all the time. It's like, oh, I'm going to turn you to the dark side. They're going to turn to the dark side. Blah 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 blah. So yeah,
Right. Right. And it's not some magical thing.
right.
There's not a spell or a set, one circumstance that just flips you.
Yep, yep. So I underestimated the show. I think, and so far,
Maybe
so
that's good
it's
for
it's
you.
surprised me. Yeah, well, I mean, I was excited. I thought, because I'd liked all the other stuff. I
Yeah.
just it's been a little more, some of the characters have been a little more complex, and the ideas a little more refreshing than I had imagined it would be. So,
Good.
yeah.
Good. That speaks highly of it.
Yeah. And then um one more, let's see, what time is it? We'll save that for another time. Save it for another time. Um, and you all of a sudden, knock on wood, you cleared up, and you've been very
Yes, I can see
not
myself
stuttery.
looking clearer, so yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. Well, speaking of, I don't know, looking at things looking clear. Did you watch this in 4K? Alien 3, Alien Cubed, whatever, Alien 3.
Alien
nine-
Trace.
yeah, 1992, I think.
Mhm.
This is a movie that I have never seen previous to this.
Yeah.
Both of us watched the regular theatrical cut, directed by David Fincher. It was his
Yep.
first feature film. I guess he'd done like music videos and stuff before and whatever. So, um, hated the experience. So that's nice. Um, but yeah, so you'd seen this before, yes, but it'd been a
Yes.
long time. Okay.
Yes, it's been a long time. In fact, I think I've watched Alien 3 maybe twice before this, and definitely not in the last decade.
Okay. Yep. So you were not, but when you last watched it, you were not aware that Tywin Lannister was in it.
No, no, because of course, how could I be?
Yes.
How
Right.
how could I know what he could become?
Right. hmm Okay. So what going into this? Spoilers, by the way, everyone. Spoilers. Going into Alien 3, what was your, even though it's been a long time, what was your impression in your mind? What state did you go into this? Like, oh yeah, this one again. Guess we had to watch this one, or is it like, oh, it's been a long time? What was your impression it left on you?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I was excited to watch this because it had been a long time, but I was also not excited to watch it because I remember not loving this. Um, I felt like the movie overall tried really hard, and I could see the effort of trying hard and it not working. Um, and also, I just remember not being super impressed with the script itself.
Hmm.
So vague bad feelings. It's just to me, I remember it not being a quality film. And upon this viewing of the regular non-assembly cut, yes, still agree. It's not a great film.
Okay. Okay. Um.
There
Well,
are cool
I
things. There are cool elements. There are pieces. So I'm interested to see if I have a more favorable opinion after watching the assembly cut. But yeah, this version of the movie is just not my favorite.
so for those that are not familiar, I fell in love with the franchise when I saw Alien, and then
Hard not
saw
to.
Aliens, and at the time was like, okay, well, that was good, but it wasn't Alien. So I kind of was happy. And then I heard after that, really didn't get all that, it wasn't all that great. So I delayed on watching that for a long time and was happy that we had Prometheus and Covenant because I was into those. So my expectations were low here.
Mhm.
And with that, I was pleasantly surprised. Like, I thought that this movie was actually quite a bit of fun. Ashley agrees with me, and she said for her, and I thought it was interesting that um, a lot of the one thing that stood out to her in this is she actually cared some more about some of the people. And I think in particular, Charles Dance's character, Tywin's character,
Mhm. Mhm.
and liked that relationship and how that was growing and stuff. And how in a lot of other alien movies, like some of the for sure, like Prometheus and stuff, it's like you either don't know about the crew or you don't care. And so they get cool deaths. You don't feel invested in those deaths. Um,
Mhm.
so I kind of agreed with that. Um, I think I also give it credit for being a little different. It's like Alien, and then Covenant, and um, um, the new one, um, Romulus.
Resurrection? Romulus.
Romulus.
Yeah.
It's all like, well, let's get the creature and let's put him in the airlock. Like we're on a ship and we shoot him out the airlock. That's fine, but we're in a different situation here, and it's different mechanics to destroying the xenomorph. So I thought that was good.
Mhm.
Um, it was a it was an interesting setting. It was like this abandoned prison colony kind of thing. It's kind of interesting, and how they developed a type of like religion there. This like
Mhm.
um, religion of chastity and stuff. It's like that was one of the things. Definitely, it's like Ripley. I don't know what you're doing here. You're being really stupid. Like, just stay in your medical bay here. Like, you're
Mhm.
asking for trouble. So, but no, I found quite a bit to enjoy about this movie, and I was a little surprised. Like some of the effects weren't perfect. Like the practical ones were good. Anytime they had a
Yep.
CGI one, not so much.
It's
But
bad.
yeah.
Yeah, I I just had a hard time. I think the last half hour where they finally put a plot in motion to kill the xenomorph, and we have Ripley, I felt like finally engaging after learning, big spoiler, that there's an alien inside her and she's got to kill it. Um, that's when she kind of came alive to me, but I felt like so much of the movie was just on this weird even keel. Before that, everything felt kind of underwhelming and mellow to me.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
like, there was killings, but they weren't crazy, and characters sort of half reacted, but also explained them away really easily. Um, Ripley goes into her crashed ship, the Sulaco, or the EEV that gets ejected from the Sulaco. And, she learns from plugging in Bishop that, like, hey, there was an alien on board the whole time. And she's just sort of like, oh man. Like, there was no like, God, no. I fought so hard, and that thing was there the whole time. I was expecting more. I was expecting
Mm,
bigger, and she was very
okay.
like, dang. And so I didn't feel her engage. I felt her engage, at the funerals of Hicks and Newt. Um, but other than that, she's very one note for me. And then she like kicked it up after she got the scan and was like, frack, I'm growing a queen. And then she
Yeah.
felt engaged to me.
Okay. That's fair. I would have that would have been cool because in Aliens, that was one of the things that she did really well, was the conveying of fear. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not going. Like, she was having nightmares, like
Yep.
sweating and hyperventilating. That was all really
Yep.
good. In this, yeah, reacting like, oh, it's one on board. I would have loved a scene of her like losing her shit by herself
Yes.
in that small ship. Like, oh, God
Yes.
damn it,
Yes.
and throwing a
Like,
few
I've
things.
been
That would be good.
repressing some stuff and just, like, then letting loose. Like,
Hmm.
you know, I understand. Obviously, everybody has coping mechanisms. Like, I have no idea how, or when people can react differently to trauma, and, like, when it's one of those things where you just, like, get through and then suddenly, you feel everything.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, maybe it's in the assembly cut, and because I did see that there's, I think, between 30 and 40 minutes of more footage.
Yeah.
Um, so it's lengthy, and maybe there is that. Maybe I'm gonna, eat my words because there's a payoff there. But yeah, I felt like I wanted more. I felt like Ripley was not engaging, and everything was just very surface level. And it didn't necessarily read to me as a viewer as this is a choice I'm making.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. My one of my issues, I guess, was I really thought she should have, like, she held off telling
For
Tywin
zero reasons,
way too long. Yeah, and especially like he's opening up about things or whatever. He keeps
right?
having to divulge stuff, and just like,
Right? I've got a
you
tortured
know,
past.
uh, yeah,
I killed some people because, being a doctor is hard and sometimes you see stuff that traumatizes you, and I dealt with it by drinking. And then I was an idiot and went back
mhm,
on call instead of just being like, nope, like I'll face a different penalty for admitting to you that I went out and got drunk. I shouldn't be treating people.
yep, yep, yep. So that was that. I had a problem there. I did, some of the dialogue. I thought just a little bit too much with, like, the arguments between these prisoners were just sort of like "f you this, f you that." It didn't really add anything else or go anywhere. Um,
No.
I was also really looking for the Eighth Doctor. That was one of the things I was excited to watching
Oh,
this,
yeah.
and I couldn't even tell he was in here. For one,
Yep.
so much of his stuff was cut. Sounds like
Yep.
most of that is in the assembly cut. And
Sure.
two, he just looks so crazy different
Yes.
than typical. So in the end, I'm like, I don't even know which guy that was. Like,
Yep.
his name is Golic in here, but yeah,
Yeah,
I just
he's
thought that.
in stuff, but he's just it's very like bits and pieces shots. I do want to jump back on the dialogue piece because there were two egregious moments that one I agreed with you on, um,
Hmm.
where they're like hatching their plot and it's like, oh, there's no question of if we should act, it's only now, like, what are you gonna do about it? Oh god,
Yeah,
like it was so
it
like
was.
it was warning bells in my brain. This is dialogue. I am saying dialogue. Like it that exchange was terrible.
It was really bad, and
So
I
bad.
can't believe that stayed in there because that character was also really cool. I thought
Yes,
he did a
I do
really good
agree.
job,
I do
and
agree.
he
He was a bright
like,
spot.
yeah, he he I don't know, you didn't understand him for sure right away. He was a complicated person. He
Yeah.
was someone that was able to, like, stand up to or beside Ripley. Sometimes it's like everybody's just losing their minds and stuff, and she's the only one that can stay calm, cool, and collected, sort of thing. She has the plan or whatever. But like he did too in this case. Like he
Yeah.
was, they worked well off each other. And there's a moment where she's like, just kill me. I got this thing in me, just kill me. And then he's like, nope, not doing it. You're not giving up like this or whatever. So
Right.
um, that stuff was
Not now.
good.
We kill the xenomorph first because I don't have enough. He was a character who recognized his limitations well. He's like, I don't know enough about it to kill it. You need to help me because clearly I think he recognized a survivor in her. Um,
Yep.
and then two, when he says like, I'm not a leader, I know what my role is and I'm a spiritual leader, but I'm not a true leader of men. I can't rally the troops to execute a plan. Logistics is not my place. It's the spirit. It's the attitude. It's the togetherness and keeping us on this moral code, whatever we've decided in our religion, whatever it is. It wasn't always clear, but they didn't like
Yeah.
culling game style throw up a bunch of rules about this religion. Sorry for the deep cut. But yeah, he like I said, he was a character who recognized his limitations well. He was like, I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not, and I know when someone else is needed, and Ripley's needed here for these things.
Yep.
Um, I do want to mention the other what I thought was just absolutely crushing piece of dialogue. It's in this same scene after Ripley and Dylan, I believe is the character's name, have done their little poor exchange, and she's talking now to the prisoners, and she's like, we need to take action, and they're like, well, we should just wait for the company to save us, and she goes, no, like you don't know. I've seen them before. You think they value you? They didn't value this crew. They didn't value their Marines. They think we're crud. And it's just like, oh, oh, oh. Like, just the way that Sigourney Weaver delivered that line, I was like, she doesn't even know how to say it. There's no right way
Right.
to say this terrible piece of dialogue. And it
Yeah.
was just, oh God.
You're right, because the whole thing was fine and good until that. It's like it's like all of a sudden you're talking, you realize you're talking to your kids and can't say the mean word. So it's like this is a whole bunch of poop, you know.
Yeah.
It's like
Wh-
it's
Which which felt especially ridiculous in a movie that, is dealing with prisoners who are like, fuck off, fuck you. Like, sorry for the,
mhm, mhm.
potential podcast flagging there. But, you know, the prisoners use the big boy words. Ripley, you can use the big boy words.
Yep.
And yeah, that piece of dialogue just felt really, really awful and forced.
Mhm. That's true. It's true. Let's see. What's this remotely Baywatch-esque running?
Oh yeah, the beginning, I felt like they were doing some weird camera work. Like they have this, like sped up skyline that's happening, and then, they have the ship crashing down, and there are people running from the prison to go find the ship, and it was like they were like, "Oh, slow-mo in our prison
Mm,
ponchos, get to the beach." And then it was like sped up really fast. And I was like,
hmm,
"Are we just playing with, what the camera can do and what our editing crew can do?" Like, it felt
okay,
very awkward. Um,
okay,
so yeah, like that's my notes there, where this, like, they were
sure,
playing with
yeah,
these speeds of film and it didn't really work for me. But that could be, again, maybe something in the assembly cut that's different.
yep, yep. Okay, well, I did hear the beginning is pretty different, so
Well, then there you go. I do know that there's a whole different, like, and more evolved storyline about like how the xenomorph gets out, gets into its first host and is born and all of this kind of stuff. So
yeah.
we'll see.
It's fun seeing the stars in this movie, so again, I'm excited for the assembly cut, see Paul McGann's character more, but
Yeah,
I like seeing Charles Dance. Um,
of course.
I always forget his name, but it's Pete Postlethwaite. Wait, he's the guy
Mhm.
that's the hunter in the Lost World, and I always loved that character.
Right.
And
Right. Yeah.
I just always loved the character. So not only did I love
I
that
knew I
character,
knew
but then
him.
yeah, and then he's also in the Leonardo DiCaprio Romeo plus Juliet movie.
Yes, he is.
He's
Yes, he
like
is.
Francis Friar Lawrence, which is like
Yes,
the
he is.
character I had to read when in school. So I like
Oh,
actually I
really?
was like, oh, cool, yeah. So
I
yeah,
bounced around. I was Juliet at times, and it was a big scandal because I played opposite my best friend's boyfriend during the balcony scene. Ooh, middle school drama.
hmm,
Um, then I was the nurse at one point, and then I was Mercutio for the famous Queen Mab speech, which
uh,
suited me very well because
I'll
nobody
take
else wanted to do it.
Friar Lawrence anytime. I'm just good with that one. I'll stick with that. So
Um, Speaking of Romeo and Juliet, while we're on it, I did forget I watched the newer one um, with like Haley Steinfeld and Paul Giamatti as Friar Lawrence. And he is a bright spot in that movie, as is oh God, what's his name? The Elder Skarsgård. Um,
oh, Stellan.
Stellan, thank you, thank you. He is the Prince of Verona, and he does a great job as well.
Mm,
But other than
okay.
that, I would not recommend that movie.
Okay.
It's very middling.
Okay.
But you made me think of it with your Friar Lawrence talk.
Yeah. No, it's um I don't know which one you mean, but those are good actors. So,
Yes, good actors. It's just it's very like we are saying lines of Shakespeare, and
mm,
it's not really imbued with the right spirit or emotion, I think.
sure.
So it was a little tough to watch, which I know
Yep.
Shakespeare is a tough dialogue to convey, you know, your proper depth of emotion. But yeah, it was just like we are reading lines from a play.
Right. And then there is also, I'll be interested to watch again because someone named Junior, and he's played by Holt uh, McCallany. And I didn't recognize him until looking at this IMDb page that he's the guy from Mindhunter, and he's awesome in there. So,
Hmm. Okay.
yeah. So, big names,
Yeah, for sure.
big names. But okay. Well, so fun cast, director I love. To me, a movie that, doesn't compare to the others, but I had a good time with it and it exceeded my relatively low expectations. Um, yeah. So I really can't complain too much. Like, to me, if the next one is on par with this one, I guess I'm going to be pretty happy.
I mean, from my remembrance, it is. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, I, I again, I had a lot of trouble with the beginning of this movie. The beginning, honestly, like 2/3 of it. But the last, you know, push was very exciting to me. I love their idea for how to defeat the alien. Like you said, it's a little bit different. We don't have to have airlocks. We're not in space. Um, you know, it's kind of the opposite, you know, kill it with fire. But I loved the maze like quality of the prison at that point. Like all of these different tunnels, like all of these people just like running around inside them. That's where I thought the unique camera work worked because it just conveyed this like endless loop of like, where are you running? Where are you going? Oh my God, like I'm in terror. I'm lost. I have no idea which tunnel is A, B, C, D, E, F. You know, they're calling out
Yep.
like names to each other and they're trying to figure it out, but they're just panicked. And it all
Yep.
looks the same. And I totally get it. It's a terrifying scenario. So
Yep.
that I thought was really great. I loved the feeling and all of that. That's where I thought, you know, some of the alien shots, like the shots of the xenomorph itself, worked the best when it was in this like steam, half light,
Mm,
these, you know, tunnels. Like you said, not necessarily the ceiling shots where you could see it move because the CGI was rough there. Um, but when it was kind of half in the shadows, hunting, that's always when I think the shots of the xenomorph are most effective. Um, and then, yeah, you know, they defeated it. You know, it was a couple person job, and then Ripley just, you know, swan dives and doesn't let the company have what it wants. That is such a great ending. That
mhm.
really, the viewing went up in the last 30 minutes. You know,
Sure, yeah.
if you talk to me right afterwards, my viewing is more favorable, but it's hard, you know, when I'm recounting some of the things I don't like. Um,
Sure.
but the ending is great. Killer
Good.
ending.
I also like that, you know, we have some lore introduction, like, because as soon as she had alien in her, I'm like, how are you still alive? Like, how is it not bursted
Mhm.
out? What is happening? And then it's like, oh, it's a queen. It's different. Okay, that's cool.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that was fun. Um, it was funny at the end. You have this like bishop character, like they sent one to send a friendly face. I'm not an android, like okay, whatever.
Liar.
It's like,
We
please.
watched his ear flapping around in the breeze at the end there. Like, no.
Yeah, they did such a good job though with Bishop, like him. Like I thought the effects looked better than in
Yes.
Romulus. Bringing back Ian Holmes'
Ooh.
version. I thought they did a really
Yeah,
good job with
I agree with that.
Bishop.
Yep, I
Yeah.
agree with that for sure. It was
So,
messy, but it worked. You know what I mean? It felt better because it was messy. Like,
mhm.
they didn't try too hard to make it
Yeah,
perfect, and, yeah,
yeah.
that really worked for me.
And they, also I sat there, I wrote in the notes, like, why did the xenomorph leave her alive? Like, I totally didn't see it coming.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. It's like, makes perfect sense. But I was like, what is this major plot hole here? Like, what is it? So, um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Poor
it's good.
yeah, I
Yeah.
that was a scene, I remember, and this could be hampered by having seen this movie before, but I remember when I first saw it being also confused by, but also underwhelmed at Clemens's death. It
Mm,
just sort of felt like, oh, he got like punched through a curtain.
sure.
Dang.
Okay. All right. I just was like, really upset that he did die. So I guess that I wasn't thinking about how he went. It was like, just no, Ripley, you should have told him way earlier and like treated this with more severity and more urgency, as
Right?
I feel you would have anyways. Like you find someone here that you can maybe confide in and be like, okay, I'm gonna tell you. I know it's gonna be crazy, but look, this is the way it's going, and it's here's my
Right? Like,
computer. Look, I plugged it in until whatever.
well, and he goes along with the whole like autopsy ride. He's just met her and she's like, "Hey, you need to do
Yep.
an autopsy of this little girl that drowned." And he's like, "I know she drowned." She's like, "You're going to do it." He does it. He follow like all of it. He follows
Yep.
through with all of it. He stands up to the superintendent. Like, he's showing you that he is willing to put some trust in you. Obviously your tale is fantastic, but you gotta give him something here. I
Hmm.
mean, yes, of course you can't just spring it on him, but he's with you this far. You can at least try to explain why you're asking him to do weird things and he's doing them.
Yeah. He clearly made a judgment call of her character, and it's
Right.
like, you know there's someone honest here, and you know made that call, put enough faith in her, and wasn't rewarded except with the tail, yes, but that's that's not helping us survive right now.
Right,
So,
right. Just means you went out, probably on, like a decent day in your life.
well, considering his life has been for a while, yes,
Right.
I would
Exactly.
imagine.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, um I do like the religion element of this, that adding that, because I'm like, if you didn't do that, everybody's gonna be partnered up. They all became gay. Like it's because I don't know how long they were all there, but
Yeah, I
sounds like
mean,
a while.
they yeah. Well, and yeah, I mean, given the repeated, um nothing works here, and they're talking about like the video cameras have never
Yeah.
been replaced, and like, oh, did the doors work? I don't know. It feels like quite a while that
Yep.
this, everything's been basically in need of an upgrade and nothing's happened. Um,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. Well, pretty. Is there anything else you need to say? Like for me, just overall, it exceeded my low expectations, and I had fun with it. I had fun seeing the different cast members in it, and overall, I thought it was like a competent, sensible story that we had take place here with some characters I was interested in. Um, and so I can't be too mad at it, despite a few, like, just a few things, like, really, yeah, it is kind of bland looking. It's very one note. It does
A lot
have
of
a few
brown.
lines of dialogue that are really like, oh, why is that there? It has a couple kind of delves into typical horror movie problems of like, why are you making that decision? Why are you running out by yourself
True,
when you're not
true.
supposed to, amongst a whole bunch of sex slave criminals, or sex deprived criminals? And then why aren't you telling the one guy that you're trusting? And yeah, so just a few things like that really that kind of brought it down for me. But overall, like I enjoyed it, and I'm excited to watch the assembly cut and see if I agree that it's
Hmm.
better, and if so, how much.
Yeah, I am very interested to watch the assembly cut because yeah, my remembrance of this being a little bit lackluster, kind of a meh movie on the whole is holding. I didn't love this one, but I do like the ending. I do like the last 30 minutes. I think it redeems the movie quite well. And if the majority of the changes are at the beginning, um, and kind of fix some of these problems for me, then I would absolutely move this movie up and think on it more positively. So I'm very interested to see what I think after watching that.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's Alien 3 for you. And
Hmm.
I don't know that I would say we could do at the beginning of whenever we talk about Alien Resurrection, just at the beginning of that, if we manage to make the time to give our thoughts on the assembly cut of this.
Yeah,
Probably don't need a whole code for it. So,
yeah, I would think so.
but we also have more, again, yes, more Daredevil Born Again season 2 coming down the pipeline. Got to get on that. Andrea's begun that process. We
Yeah.
also have anime, our anime show, Ohio Anime. That is that's what we should have next week, and probably what sounds like finishing out. Tojima wants to be a common writer, so if you're following along with that, hopefully you are. It's podcasts on the rocks everywhere. So on Twitch, we're live right now on YouTube, Twitch, X, and Rumble. So any of those places you can follow us. And we, YouTube is the one place if you want only our anime content for our anime show, you can get Ohio Anime. Otherwise, it's Podcast on the Rocks, and that includes podcast directories as well. Killing the Flower, they wrote our theme song, so you should check them out on music streaming
Woo
services.
woo.
Mike Bryant Racing, check him out. He's like Phil said, we gotta get Mike back on the show for something. It's been
Yeah.
too long. Peter J. Gilbertson, check out his books. Could get Pete back on here too for something as well. It's
Well,
been a
especially if
hot
we talk
minute.
Daredevil.
Yeah, if it holds and he's like, yeah, I'm interested in this, because not that I do not want to hear his you know dissenting opinion if that is the case on it, but if he doesn't want to go through it again, like
True, true.
sometimes
And
you
I
just
feel
don't
like,
want to live through
yeah, true. I also feel like sometimes you guys struggled through Moon Knight conversations because you had such different feelings
it. Yeah, well, I mean,
and they weren't
I'd have to go
mild.
back and yeah, I had to go back and listen, but I mean, um, definitely we were on total opposites for Moon Knight. But that's the way a lot of it is for the superhero stuff for Pete and I. So it kind of works out that way to have an interesting. We're just looking for different things, I think from
Yeah.
the superhero genre typically. So
Which is good to not always agree too.
yeah, yeah, no,
'Cause I think it
absolutely.
can challenge your opinions. Obviously Alien 3 here is something where we didn't fully agree. Um,
Hmm.
but it's good to like remember the upsides for me. And I think as you were kind of listing, like, you're right, like some of that was a little bit more problematic. It's like, yeah, it's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, the middle's here. You're a little on the downside. I'm a little on the upside. So that's what it's a disagreement, but it's not an extreme one. I'm not like, oh my god,
Exactly.
it's my favorite one, and you're like, oh, it's absolutely the worst thing. So
Exactly. Right. We would probably be ending this podcast in partnership if you were like, this is the best Alien, obviously.
well, if we did this on
I
April
kid. I
Fools, you
kid
think I could
mostly.
manage that for? a whole episode. You think I can manage to argue that for the whole like an entire episode if it was April Fools like this, and then at the very end be like, I'm kidding. This is like
I feel like you
fifth
would
best.
remain committed for a while, but eventually you would break. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think you could do it for a whole episode. I think you could do it for a while. I think you could be committed
Okay.
if you really like sat down and thought about it. But there'd be something I would say, and then you would just laugh and be like, I can't do it.
Some year, you'll never know when, we'll have a show around April 1st. You'll never know, and I'll have to try it. I'm not used to that type of deception, so.
You have a whole year to practice if you want to do it next year. Because I mean, we're in April right now, so you have a
Well,
whole year
as long
for
as
me
you
to
forget
forget,
about it
and
by
a
next
whole year.
year.
I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like I will. I feel like that's a fair bet.
Okay.
As long as we don't like replay this episode, sometime at the beginning of 2027.
You're going to your wall calendar after this. You still have one you're writing on it, like, be prepared,
Red X's, like just
Yeah.
counting down the days. John's
Mhm.
deception.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, you can all count down the days to our next podcast episode. Make sure you like, share, subscribe in all the applicable places. And thank you all for being here. And Andrea, thank you for being here. We'll see everybody next time.
Of course, as always. Cheers, everybody.